Previously, in the anime, Rudy had started to live a normal life with her brother Red and his future wife Rit. Red and Rit were getting married soon, and Red wanted to give a sapphire ring to Rit for engagement. So they were traveling to the mountains of World End to get the sapphire stone where Crystal Giants lives, but that's where Yarandrula comes to Zoltan to meet with Red and Rit. And as soon as she found out they were headed to Mountain's End, she followed them to be reunited with Red after a long time. But away from there, a boy named Van got the blessings of hero just like Rudy, but he's much more cruel and vicious. So, as the story continues, Yarandrula was convinced that Ares had killed Red, so when she heard that Red was alive, she was relieved, and more so that he's getting married with Rit. So she tells them to move to Kiraman City with her. It's the biggest city-state on the Avalon Kingdom where all the high elf lives who never betrays their friends. For once she wanted Red to live in a place filled with true comrades and friends, but Red was happy as he is now on Zoltan, as Zoltan has become his home, instead. Red told Yarandrula to move to Zoltan and try living there, but the mountains were getting a little cold, and Tis knew a fine hot spring site and took everyone there to relax. But Red was all alone on the other side, so Yarandrula didn't like to leave Red alone and went to the other side to accompany Red, so Rit also went behind her. But that's when Tis moved to the Rudy's side and asked her if she's fine that Red is getting married to Rit, it would make her lonely. Rit knew she couldn't marry Red because they are brother and sister, but that won't stop her from loving him. She was perfectly fine if Red married Rit, because she could be his number one wife, and Rudy could be his number one lover. Tis was shocked to hear this, but after that, they travels to the Gem Giants area, but they were all looking worn out, so Red meets the Gem Giants chief to offer nice crystal for blue sapphire, but unfortunately, the Gem Giants didn't have it. And suddenly a kid was drooling over there as saw the crystal, and Red offers it to him. Gem Giants eat the crystal energy when they cut it out with their nails. Sort of like roots take water for the tree, but recently a crystal monster has appeared on their area who turns all the crystal into lead, which is basically poison for Gem Giants, so they can't eat this type of crystal, so Red and the others decided to kill the crystal monster for the sake of the Gem Giants tribe. And just a little further from their village they found the monster. However, his defense and attack power were highly enchanted with multiple blessings. So Yarandrula blocked its movement with her wood magic, and Rit threw in a potion to weaken its magic powers. That completed the job, and Rudy kills it with a single punch. So all the crystal turned back to normal. That saved all the Gem Giants in the area, but sadly they didn't got the blue sapphire Red was searching for. But Yarandrula then decided to stay in Zoltan for a while, and away from their heroes party got the news that someone saw the Demon Lord's airship in Zoltan. So Ljubo orders to send some to investigate Zoltan. And as Scarlta gives him the idea to let the hero level up by fighting monsters, Ljubo agreed with her because Van was interested in finding the vessels that lead to the Demon Lord. So after meeting got over, Esta turns out to be Theodora, and she wanted to keep Van away from Rudy. She was with Albert, and she tells him to travel to Zoltan to inform this to Red and others. Because they were living a pretty normal life away from war in Zoltan, and right now, it was the festival season in Zoltan, because at this time of year Drake Rider and Saint drove out the monster from Zoltan a long time ago, so Zoltan celebrates this day as a festival. The town even made a public show to show the legend to everyone. But the person acting as a monster was giving a hard time to the actors because he was Danon. He wasn't following the script, but after that everyone were enjoying a slow and romantic music. But Rit saw Rudy was sitting all alone and sends Red to her. He takes Rudy out for a dance, because her blessings eat away her emotions, but only when she's with Red. She could feel the emotions that she's unable to feel due to her blessings, but the spy that Ljubo had sent were noticed, and Tis cornered them at night. But someone else helped them out in escaping, and he's one of the guys Tis knew. He's from the Assassin Guild. And Tis was handling everything in shadow so that Rudy or the other could live in peace. Then, Rudy had made a herb farm to help out Red in his apothecary, but the soil for farming was stone cold for herbs to grow, so she called out Red to help them out. He taught them about the herb farming and the irrigation system, but Rudy noticed Tis was bothered by something. So she decided to cheer her up and took her to watch a play at the theater where Rudy jumps in on an actor because he was holding a cursed sword, so Rudy battles the curse. And that turns out to be a fine show, so the producer switched his plan to play Rudy's biography for their next play, and away from there, the spy found the Demon Lord's airship in the jungle. But when they wanted to inform Ljuo about it, The one who saved them from Tis killed them because they wanted to report about Tis till Jubo. So Kiblets sends the information till Jubo and leaves Tis out of his report. Apparently he had a grudge against Tis and she came to the airship to face the guy. They were both trained in the Assassin Guild, and he was a fellow student who learned assassination from the same master. But his bloodlust had just taken over him that he wants to prove himself better. He used a coin-sized bomb that were banned by their master, but he doesn't care as long as he gets to kill Tis. But just when Tis was about to get blown up, a wind sends away all the bombs, giving Tis a chance to land a hit. So, on his last words, he told Tis that Cardinal Jubo had hired him and he's planning to take this ship, after which he died from blood loss, so Tis buried Kigith. There Rudi came out of hiding as she knew and was watching from afar, but now that Kigith had reported Jubo about the airship, he summons Van to head to Zoltan to fulfill his own ambition through Van. He was in a monster hunt and because of Van, many of their party members were on the verge of death. And he doesn't care a single bit, he thinks their sacrifice isn't important for a hero like him. And unaware of the new hero's existence, Tis and Rudi's herb farm were growing herb without a problem this time, and Red decided to report this to the Merchant Guild about their herb farm. So when he was on his way, he ran into Danon. He was still the musclehead and wants Red and their full party to go after the Demon King, but Red declines to stay in Zoltan to live a peaceful life. But Danon chose to leave, however. First he wants to have a duel with Red, which Red agreed to it, so Red was preparing himself, and Rit saw that and also wanted to have a duel with him. Which shocked him because he can't bring himself to fight his own wife, so early in the morning he starts practicing and Yarandrilla comes there to become his training partner. Rit was surprised because Yarandrilla was a mage, but she tells Rit that she had developed a fighting style of range that is commonly used by the army. She's a pretty famous martial artist. So she made up her mind to beat Red into tip-top shape. Then, after a few days of training, the whole gang decided to go for a camping and have a duel in the forest. But there somehow Danon competed with Rudi to see who collects more firewood, but he clearly lost. After that, they had a proper lunch, but that little amount of food was insufficient for giant like Danon, so everyone gave half of their portion to him. After that, they gets back to train for the last time and the day passed out. Then, at night, Red was in the river washing out his stress, and their Rit comes there to help him wash his back. She joins him in, and he tells Rit that he feels this duel is a way for him to tell Danon that he wants to live a life in Zoltan away from adventuring. He was hoping that it gets through his thick brain. So the next day, the duel begins, and both of them were an equal match on the combat, and at the end, Red almost lost. But Danon respected his decision that he wants to live a normal life and chose to let him be, so everyone got back home and saw Albert had arrived. He tells them about Theodore, who changed her name to Esta to spy on the new hero Van. He tells them about their target and they are visiting Zoltan. But the scene shifts to Van, who saw a bald guy just killed someone because his blessing was craving for a kill. So Van killed him in cold blood and justified his act that he extinguished the evil blessing holder. Esta tries to explain him that he shouldn't kill anyone just because he committed a murder. But Van is so brainwashed that he simply accepted his act as a hero's duty to kill evildoers. Van tells Esta that hero Rudi would have done the same as him. He admired her, and the church's evil jubilee encouraged Van even more. So, and what will happen when he comes across Rudi? Find out in the next part of the anime, but until then, take care.